Kumusta Texas and all the other 50 states of the United States? Ganun din siyempre sa Philippines na ngayon ay Sabado na ng umaga, sa Canada, sa Australia, at saan man kayo naroroon ngayon, welcome dito sa Usapang of the Record. Samahan niyo ko sa isang oras na kwentuhan about legal matters that could probably change your life. You'll never know. I am your host, Aileen 𝘚𝘵𝘢𝘶𝘚, and I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Texas and in the Philippines, and I'm the managing partner of the 𝘚𝘵𝘢𝘚 law firm based here in Houston, Texas. Ayan. And mapapanood at mapapakinggan nyo kami rito every Friday at 9 p.m. Central Time. At yan ay 7 p.m. naman sa Pacific. At 10 p.m. na yan sa East Coast. And of course, sa Philippines, that'll be 10 a.m. in the morning. At kung nasa Australia naman kayo, mga alas 12 na yan ng tanghali. Yan. We are live stream via Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy, Facebook page, and YouTube channel. Mapapanood nyo rin ito sa YouTube channel ng ating law firm. Kaya naman, of course, like and follow us so you will be notified if we have live shows or you will know our upcoming live shows. At marami kayong abangan sa Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy. Kami ay mapapakinggan via Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast, and Overcast, before I forget. And of course, Listen Notes. And if you are joining us on the live show, you may post your comments, your greetings, your shout outs, and syempre, I will be very happy to read that during the show. At kung meron naman kayong katanungan dito sa ating discussion, you're welcome to post your questions and we will try to answer those questions, during the show. And of course, ang ating episode today ay related pa rin sa usapang divorce. At this time naman, let's focus on the custody battles. Yan ang mag-asawa o ng mga magulang na mga bata. Okay? So last week, we talked about the custody right of grandparents, ng mga lolo't lola. Ngayon naman, pag-usapan natin yung custody battles ng mga magulang. Ano ba tong tinatawag nilang custody battle na ito? Dito, syempre, sa Texas because divorce law, family law is a state law. So if you are located in a different in states or jurisdiction, or if, like for example, you're in the Philippines, of course, the Texas law will not apply. You'll have to consult with an attorney who is licensed to practice in your jurisdiction. Of course, the competent one is an attorney who practices divorce or family law in your jurisdiction, in your state, or in your country. Okay. And it's of course it's always best to consult sa experts sa inyong jurisdiction. Yan. And ngayon ay Friday, July 22nd dito sa Texas, and that'll be July 23rd na sa Philippines and sa Australia. Dito ay July 22nd pa lang, kaya ako ay merong babatiin. I'd like to say happy birthday to my sister, Lourdes. Ang nickname niya, Didit. Lourdes is in Australia. So happy birthday, sis. I wish you all the luck and of course, all the love in the world. All right. So, ngayon, bago natin of course simulan ang ating discussion, I just want to let you know na what I'm doing lately for the past 5 Fridays or 4 Fridays na yan yata tayo na pinag-uusapan natin ang divorce dito sa Texas. You may be able to relate at least or get some general knowledge about divorce. What's happening if you're gonna get a divorce here in Texas? What if you're a foreign national? Can you get a divorce in Texas? So pinag-usapan natin yung process in the past. If you missed that episode, you can always go back. Punta lang kayo sa Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy Facebook page and YouTube channels, and of course yung ating mga podcasts natin. And you'll be able to access the previous episodes where we talk about divorce and the process of divorce, the cost, well, a little bit about custody, a little bit about child support, a little and also the rights of grandparents, and what is the effect of adultery in case of divorce, yeah, mga ganyang topic. And today naman, we will focus on the custody battles ng parents. So we'll try to understand ano nga ba 'tong nangyayari when we say, kakaroon ng custody battle ang mag-asawa or ang mga magulang ng mga bata. And also, we will try to explain a little bit about the standard possession order here in Texas. It might look the same or, maybe different from your jurisdiction. So always consult an attorney there in your jurisdiction. And also, we will talk about what the last question, I guess, that we're going to be talking about, or in today's episode is what if hindi nga sila mag-asawa, like magulang sila, mga magulang ng mga bata, not necessarily mag-asawa, di ba? When we say not necessarily mag-asawa, maybe they're not married, or yeah, they're not legally married, so there's no divorce to speak of, right? So, yes, kaya naman simulan na natin. Today, I have a PowerPoint or a presentation for you to make it easier for you to understand or follow through our discussion. We'll have three major topics. Well, the last topic is, of course, prelude to the next topic that we're gonna discuss next episode. Yeah. So, okay, so let's show our presentation here. Ayan. Okay. So, I hope you can see it on your screen. I'm not sure how it's gonna look like if you're using a cell phone, or I know how it will look like if you're using a browser. But don't worry, I'm gonna read this for you. We don't have a voiceover right now. But right now, what we have is a scenario. So this is what we call a what if scenario. So may be able to relate. Of course, this is just a scenario, so it does not necessarily mean that they're real people. But maybe, ano nga ba yung tinatawag sa Philippines na maaring may mga pangalan o lugar o situation na katulad na alam ninyo, pero this, I just want to let you know, this is a scenario that we just made up. Okay, so let's go ahead and read it para naman, yes, para sa mga nakikinig sa atin. Okay, so here we go. John and Mary were not married. Okay, but they had been cohabiting for more than 10 years. When we say cohabiting, nagsasama sila, they were living together in one under one roof. Yeah. They have two children. Jane is 6 years old and Jay is 2. John is alcoholic, and most of the time he has anger issues. But he also has enormous debts due to gambling. So he's a gambler and alcoholic at the same time. Despite these issues, John has a great relationship with Jane and Jay, the children, and he takes care of them most of the time. John has a regular job at Kroger's. So it's a grocery store here in the United States. So I'm not sure what is his job description, but he has a regular job at Kroger's. Now, Mary has, uh, I think, double job. Okay, she is a longtime cashier at Walmart and Dollar Tree. She loves her children, but she spends most of the time working, and she's working even on the weekends. And that is not a surprise here. A lot of people here, they have the two jobs or even three jobs. Now they are planning to get divorced. Okay, and John fears that Mary will not agree to have joint custody of their children. So the question here is, what if they could not agree on the custody? What are the chances that John will have access to or possession of their children? Now, this scenario is not so it's not so uncommon. Um, Syempre, if you're the mom, the instinct is you want to have the custody of your children. Okay, and if you're the dad, you fear that, oh, I might have a problem, getting custody of my children. Yun naman ang inisip mo. Siyempre, kaya nagkakaroon ng labanan, and that's where the custody battles set in. Okay, because the two parents, we say parents, no, not husband and wife, not necessarily, just in like in case of Mary and John, they're not married, so you can call them like husband and wife. But their parents, so pagka nagkahiwalay na o naghihiwalay na yung parents. Oh, wait a minute. When they say that they are planning to get divorced, they probably mean that they're planning to separate, because they really cannot get a divorce or file for divorce, because in the first place they're not married, unless they can be considered as common law spouses, common law husband and wife here in Texas, because common law marriages or common law marriage is recognized here in the state of Texas, but you still have to have it declared. Okay, so in this case, and probably the reason why they're planning the word divorce is used is because um, they had been cohabiting, and maybe they're qualified as a common law husband and wife, or common law marriage. Yeah. So anyway, so let's remember this scenario, because we might be referring to this scenario throughout the discussion on about our topic for today. Okay. All right. So let's look at the second slide. All right. All right. So here, the first topic that we're going to talk about is, how is custody of your child decided? And when we say, and when we ask this question, of course, please remember that we are referring to the Texas law, the state of Texas. So you will not get confused. And you might get confused as to how it applies to you. Again, always consult an attorney licensed in your jurisdiction if you have any question regarding custody in your jurisdiction. Okay, so now here's a question: how is custody of your child decided? Now, when we say custody here in Texas, we refer custody to as a conservatorship. Okay, so, and I have to stress this one, because the term conservatorship is used in a different with it has a different meaning in different states. Okay, so here in Texas, custody is conservatorship. So when we say conservatorship, we are referring to custody. Okay, and there are two types of conservators. Okay. When we say conservators, these are the parents who are having custody of the child. Okay. We call them conservators. So there are two types of conservators here in Texas. We have the managing conservator and the possessory conservator. Okay. When we say managing conservator or conservatorship, sila yung parent na they have the ability to make important decisions for the child or for their children. Right. There are two kinds of managing conservator. We have the sole conservator, or I mean, sole managing conservator and joint managing conservator. And we discussed this last episode. But just to give you an overview, when we say sole managing conservator, only one parent is given the custody of the child. Okay, siya yung may mga mahalagang, she can decide as to the important decision that involves the important decisions involving the child. Okay, now that's sole managing conservator. Of course, as a parent, yun ang gusto mo. Target mo is to have the sole managing conservators. You have complete um, control and decision making power over your child. Now, the other type or the other kind of managing conservator is joint managing conservator, where the two of you, the parents, the mom and the dad, will have equal access, right, and right to make decisions over your child or your children. Okay. And in Texas, it's presumed that if you're husband and wife, or you're both the biological parents, that it's in the best interest of the child that you both get the joint managing conservator. Okay. And the other naman that we mentioned is possessory conservatorship. Ito naman yung, in other words, ito yung parent na may right siya to visitation. Visitation rights lang, okay? Right to access the child and of course, possess the child during a certain time, given time. So, visitation lang yung sa possessory conservatorship. Okay? Now, when we say custody battle, we are talking about the fight over the time, the days and time that your child will spend with, each one of you, the parents. Okay, so you are trying to win more time with your child, diba? More time, and of course, decision making power with your child. So that's why yung custody battle. It's also a fight over the primary residence of a child. Okay? So when we say primary residence, kung saan titira yung bata. Okay, yung anak ninyo. Um, so it does not always happen, itong ganitong custody battle. Um, it does not always happen during divorce. Okay? Hindi ka lang pwedeng mag-assert ng custody rights mo kapag during divorce or when a divorce petition has been filed. You can also assert this, like for example, kung hindi kayo legally married, pwede ka pa rin mag-file ng custody para sa mga anak mo. Hindi nyo kailangang isabay ito sa divorce. It could be a standalone, separate petition to file for custody over your children. So just remember that. Kaya naman, if you're not, for those parents who are not legally married, they can still pursue a custody case in court if it's needed. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit as we go on with our discussion for today. Now, when we say custody battles, the most fundamental type of custody battle here is yung if the two parents are not in agreement, okay, over as to kung saan titira yung bata, saan ang primary residence ng bata, and some other decisions like school choice, yan, or other activities, kung saan pwedeng pumunta ang bata. So pag hindi sila magkakasundo niyan, then nagkakaroon ng custody battles. Now remember, the best talaga approach here is to obtain an agreement, to get an agreement, 'di ba? Magkaroon kayo ng settlement agreement, magkasundo kayo, how are you going to decide as to the custody? O, pwedeng ahati kayo pareho kayo ng time sa mga bata o pwedeng hindi. So it's up to you sa mga magulang. Ngayon, pag hindi sila nagkasundo, then that's the time nagkakaroon na talaga ng tinatawag nating custody battles. Okay? And then I've mentioned about primary residence. Yeah. Um, in a custody battle, remember, pwede tayo magkaroon ng pwedeng isang parent ay maging sole management or manager, sole managing conservator. Pwede rin namang joint kayo pareho, joint managing conservator kayo. Ngayon, pag sole managing conservator ka, then of course you have the right to determine the primary residence of the child. Siyempre, titira sa'yo at mga kasama mo sa bahay mo. Now, if joint naman kayo, joint managing conservator, paano yan? Din nasabi natin na you have equal access to the child, not equal access, but mostly equal rights to make decisions as to your child. Although joint kayo, meron at meron pa rin isa sa inyo na parent na will be the primary parent. Ang primary parent na yon, siya yung merong karapatan to make decision as to the primary residence of your child, kung saan siya titira. So kung anong county or saan man, depende doon sa maging agreement niyo, divorce decree niyo, yan. Now, of course, in determining the primary residence, let's say for example, one parent is given the authority to be the primary parent, okay? Primary conservator yan. So siya makapag-decide kung saan titira ang anak niya. Siyempre titira niya yung sa kanya, 'di ba? Sa sarili niya. Ngayon, if ever lang the court will have to decide, like for example, hindi kayo nagkasundo, and nangyayari yan because it's really the issue with child custody is the most difficult issues to resolve in a divorce case, if it's especially a contested divorce. Ayun ang pinakamahirap is yung access sa mga bata, possession sa mga bata, and that is true because it involves your emotion, your relationship. What is the essence of being a parent if you don't have your child with you? So talagang ilalaban mo 'yan, and then nandun na rin yung yung how deep is your relationship with your child. Just the thought of hindi mo makikita yung anak mo when you wake up, or just the thought of uh, yung dati lagi mo siyang kasama, magkasama kayo sa mga events, and then all of a sudden restricted ka na. So napakahirap. Kaya talagang this is it could be a lengthy battle when it comes to child custody. Okay? Now if the court will have to determine the primary residence ng bata, then the courts will look into different factors. Maraming factors ang titignan ng court 'yan in terms of determining kung saan ang primary residence ng bata kung hindi kayo magkasundo, and you let the court decides, and then the court will consider different factors. Like for example, um, sino sa mga magulang ang mas nag-provide ng child care, ng care sa mga bata. Na in case of John and Mary, yung ating scenario kanina, sinasabi doon si John spent most of the time with the kids kasi nga naman si Mary, dalawang trabaho niya. Si John, siguro mas marami siyang time na na-spend sa mga bata. Siya yung mas may time na mag-alaga sa mga bata. Remember, they're very young, 6 and 2 years old. And so, titingnan ng court yon. Tinitingnan ng court yung which parent has provided most of the care sa mga bata. Isa lang yun sa mga factors. So, just don't focus on that. Dahil may iba pang mga factors na tinitingnan ng court. Like for example, um, tinitingnan din nila whether yung magulang is capable of proper parenting. So titingnan nila yung skills mo as a parent. Kahit nga naman nasa iyo yung bata most of the time, kung pinapabayaan mo naman may neglect na nangyayari, na neglect mo yung kanilang mga needs, nagkakaroon sila ng mga injuries in your possession kasi nga napapabayaan mo, hindi magandang pag-aalaga mo, then the court will also consider that. Doon na papasok yung parenting skills mo, yung proper parenting, 'yan. So kaya nga minsan makikita mo sa mga Facebook or sa YouTube ganyan, meron silang mga, memes or video na pinapakita, and then yung mga bata 'pag na-disgrasya, and then they caption it as ano, ano ba 'yun, epic failure, parenting failure, something like that. Because it has something to do with the safety of the child and, yung wellness ng bata sa possession mo. So titingnan ng court din 'yon. Kaya wag kayong mag-isip na just because nagtatrabaho kayo, tatlo yung trabaho mo, wala kang panahon sa bata. But if you spend time with your children, and during the times na kasama niyo yung anak ninyo, inaalagaan yung tama. So titingnan din ng court 'yon, yung factor na 'yon. So don't feel bad or don't worry na because you're working a lot, you spend little time than the other parents sa mga bata, sa kanya na mapupunta yung primary residence, sa kanya natitira yung mga bata. That's not always the case. Also, titignan din ng court kung saan ba nakatira yung bata most of the time. Like for example, kung nagkahiwalay na kayo, or hindi kayo nagsasama, 'di ba? So saan tapos nagkaroon ng custody battle, nag-file ng custody yung other parent, titingnan ng court, saan ba nakatira yung bata during these times? Okay, so titingnan, factor din 'yon, okay? And also, titingnan din ng court yung if kung sa'yo titira yung bata, kasi dito sa US, zone kami 'no. Depende sa zone mo kung saang school ka naka-zone, dun papasok yung yung bata, especially elementary, grades. So like for example, kami naka-zone sa school A, yung bata, elementary, dapat sa school A papasok 'yan, hindi sa school B. So tinitingnan din ng court 'yon kung saan nakatira yung mga magulang, anong zone sila nakatira, at kung sakali man doon titira ang bata, they will look at, ano ba yung school na papasukan niya. Is this a good school? Is this the best school? Which one is better? So, yung mga factors na tinitingnan. The quality of the school. So that's why it matters, 'di ba? Kaya nga nung when I was teaching, and I this may mga factors na of course we want our school to be the best school for the children, right? Pero may mga pangyayari na na naapektuhan yung teaching, naapektuhan yung school mismo, yung safety sometimes. So, tinitignan niyo ng court kung saan yung mas best para sa bata. Remember, the main consideration here of the court is, of course, it's always going to be the best interest of the child. Not your best interest, not the best interest of anybody else, of the parents. No, it's the best interest of the child. Yan. And of course, marami pa mga factors. The other factors na pwede nating mabanggit diyan is yung mga friends and relatives. Kung titira ba ang bata sa father, sa dad, malalayo siya sa kanyang mga kaibigan. Magkakaroon ba 'yun ng effect sa emotional, psychological well-being ng bata? If yes, then the court might, think that okay, maybe that is not a good, a place for you to reside, ganyan. And many other factors. Isa lang yung yun lang yung mga some of the factors the court will look into in terms of determining the primary residence of the child. So that is if you will not come up with an agreement kung saan titira, then you let the court decide. And so the court will look into all these factors and many other factors na pwede nilang tingnan just to determine if yung bang primary residence na ibibigay, whether the mom or the dad will be in the best interest of the child. So yun ang ano ninyo doon titignan. If you let the court decide, okay? But of course, you can always make a decision. I mean, you can always make an agreement or come up with an agreement between the two of you as long as you are in agreement. Na doon, yun ang magiging tirahan or primary residence ng bata. Okay? Now, let's see. We have, I think we have a comment here. All right. Okay, so let's see here. All right, sabi muna natin ito. Si 𝘱𝘢𝘵𝘢. Hello, Shell. Thank you for joining us here sa live show. And ito ang kanyang tanong, can the child choose which parent, mom or dad, to live with? That's a very good question. Actually, common question yan. Kapag yung mga bata sa tingin nila is they can make it there. Siyempre, pag baby pa yan, of course, the baby cannot make a decision, right? But that if the child is of the age na pwede na niyang masabi kung anong gusto niya, and the court will determine that, oh, okay, this child can already make a decision, then yes, the court will allow. But of course, generally, Shell, the child cannot really choose unless he's 18 years old. Okay, so that's the that's the deal. If you're minor, you cannot make a decision at all. Okay, pero yung desire mo, yung desire ng bata, if the child is can already make some discernment, or responsible enough na to know kung ano yung makakabuti sa kanya, at least, or my idea, ganyan, then the court will consider. That doesn't mean kung ano yung decision ng bata, yun na. No. The court will consider the desire of the child, but the court will still look into whether that is his or her best interest. Kung ano yung, let's say, kay mamba o kay dad. So, hindi talaga pwedeng pumili. Alright? Pwede lang siyang mag-express ng kanyang desire, and then the court will take into consideration his or her wishes, kung saan siya titira. But the court will still determine kung it'll be in the child's best interest. Okay, so that's a good question. Very good. Okay, now, and I think meron siyang follow-up question. Where is your follow-up question? Ayan. So, 𝘱𝘢𝘵𝘢, my follow-up question siya. That's good. Ang sabi niya, what if both parents have no custody agreement or did not court order, maybe did not get a court order? Okay, so this time, hindi sila nagkaroon ng agreement. or wala rin silang court order, paano nila ide-determine yung, I guess, she's asking, uh, uh, how do you determine the custody if they both parents did not agree or did not have a custody agreement and there's no court order? I hope ano, I got it right. Okay, so I think that's what it means, right? Um, there's no official custody agreement in or court order in place. Yan. Siguro ang masabi ko diyan, if there's you cannot agree, you cannot come up with a settlement agreement as to how you're gonna decide custody, and there is no court order in place pa, then you apply for for custody. Mag-file ka sa court, okay? Um, Sa mangyayari dito, you just have to kung natapos na yung let's say walang divorce case na nangyayari, walang divorce proceeding. So, wala kayong custody agreement at wala ding court order. So, puwede kang mag-file independently na 'yan, ang tawag natin diyan is SAPSR 'yan, you know. So, puwede kang mag-file niyan na walang court o walang pending divorce case o hindi kasabay ng divorce case, you know. Ito na yung independent, puwede ka mag-file ng custody, sa court. Yan ang tinatawag nating SAPSR, yun yung ah, ano ba yun, affecting parent and child relationship, yan. So, yes, you can. So, you don't have to have you don't have to have a divorce case pending before you can, if you really wanted to file for custody. Especially kung yung magsawa, I mean, yung parents ay they're not married and they're living separately. Yeah. Okay? So, and meron tayo ditong bumabati. Delia Ligot, my mom, sabi niya, "Hello, good evening, watching from Australia." Ayan, hindi ka absent today. I know that usually kasi pag Saturday kasi sa Australia eh. So, usually 'pag Saturday, weekend, may mga events, 'di ba? Yan, so sometimes, busy, kaya gano'n sila. Yeah. So, and thank you. Yes. Yeah, okay. So, we answered that one. Yeah, SAPSR, suit affecting parent and child relationship. Tama ka dyan, Rusty. So, suit affecting, kaya nga SAPSR, SAPCR, So, ang suit affecting parent and child relationship, so pwede niyang i-file independently, kahit walang divorce, kasama diyan ang custody battle, and then also, yung child support. Okay? So, ayan ang tawag diyan sa independent na 'yan, civil case. Any suit na affecting the parent-child relationship, kasama din yung paternity claim, yan and all that. And we will talk more about that sa ating future episodes, okay? All right. So, now we have another question here. Okay, where is it? Rusty Lopez. Yes, Rusty here's his question. What if the parent wants to bring the child out of state? So let's say for example, meron ng custody order, so meron ng isang parent na, let's say, either parents are joint managing conservators or sole managing conservator yung isa and possessory yung isang parent. Hindi mo basta-basta yan malalabas ng state ang bata unless nandun sa divorce decree ninyo that you are allowing the child to be brought out of the state. Okay? Otherwise, kung wala kayong order niyan, hindi kasama sa napagkasunduan niyo, wala sa divorce decree ninyo yon na pwede, then hindi basta-basta puwedeng ilabas ang bata ng out of state. Kasi remember, if it's a sole managing conservator, the other parent has possessory rights over the child. So ibig sabihin may visitation rights. And ngayon pag nilabas mo yung bata out of state, and then you will be depriving the other parent of his or her right to visit the child. Ayan, so you will be in trouble. So you don't want to do that. But there's a way to do it. Okay? Like for example, if you get consent of the other parents, pag nagbigay ng consent, make sure you document it para meron kang proof later on na you were given consent to bring the child out of the state. Ngayon, if ever hindi mo makuha yung consent, is there another way? Of course, you go to the court and, file a case in court, an application in court to bring the child out of state. And if you can prove and the court will believes you or thinks that okay, this is in the best interest of the child, then and the court may issue an order, but you have to prove, of course, yung bakit mo ilalabas yung bata out of state. So it's either temporary lang ba yun or balak mo nang magsettle sa ibang bansa. So kaya you have to be you have to prove it. Hindi yan basta-basta, hindi rin gano'n siguro kadali, depende na lang sa reason mo. Okay? Um, okay, so now, uh, and there is another, I want to make sure na wala ko naman. Okay, now si Rochelle. Hi, Rochelle. Sabi niya, hello, sis. Pa-shout out. Pozorobio, Pangasinan. At pabati, happy birthday kay Ate Did It. So, Rochelle is my other sister. She's in the Philippines. Kaya mga taga Pozorobio ditan, kumusta kila namin? Ang patang sirin ditan. Ang patang Jad, Texas. You know? So, yan. And of course, yun nga, happy birthday kay Didit, kay Ate Didit ni Rochelle, at sa aking kapatid ko na si Didit. Okay, today is her birthday dito kasi July 22nd. Ayan, thank you. And ngayon, okay. So, what we're gonna do before we discuss the next topic, which is our next slide here. What is a standard possession order? Let's just pause for a short break. And when we come back, we're going to continue our discussion. Kaya naman, stick around and I'll see you after the break.
Hello to everyone from Roof Chamber Radio. I'm encouraging all of you to stay here, stay in this chamber. If you want to be inspired, you want to be encouraged, this is where it's at. And we're all going to need this, especially, in this new year that we're in. We don't know what's up for tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen next week or next month. But I believe that when you gather with people who believe in the power, the faithfulness, and the goodness of the Lord Jesus Christ, there is power in that in itself. So stay here. Stay in the Roof Chamber Radio. Be inspired, be encouraged. And let's all go through life, not on our own, and more than just with each other, but let's speak the faith, let's share the faith, let's live by faith, and let's walk by faith. God bless you all, everyone from Roof Chamber Radio.
And we're back. Nandito pa rin tayo sa Usapang Off the Record dito sa Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy Facebook page and YouTube channel. Live tayo. And of course, mapapakinggan tayo sa Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Overcast, and Listen Notes. And napakagandang discussion natin about the custody battles, ano? And I'd like to continue the discussion. And this time, let's just look at the standard possession order. So when we say standard possession order, nangyayari lang 'yan kapag and then of course kung if there's a divorce case happening or going on and there are minor children, then you'll have to address the issue on child custody. Kaya ngayon nag-discuss natin kanina yung custody battles, di ba? And it's always better and the best if the two parents will come into an agreement as to how they will, possess their child or their children. Kung magkakasundo kayo, the mom and the dad, as to the custody of your children or your child, you kumbaga that's mabilis na lang ninyong ma kumbaga ma-resolve matapos yung case ng if ever you have a divorce case. Kung ma-address niyo 'yon, isang major issue kasi ang child custody eh. And of course, kung ano yung mapagkasundan ninyo at you both agreed and you signed an agreed divorce decree, the court will most likely sign your or approve your decree of divorce kung nagkasundo na kayo, because ang court naman kasi as much as possible, they want the parents to resolve the issues among themselves. Siyempre buhay nila yon, mga anak nila yon, um, siyempre ano yun, recognize ng court yung decision ninyo as to however you want to possess your children, paano niyo hatiin ang custody ng mga bata. Ngayon, kapagka hindi kayo magkasundo, siyempre the court will have to make the decision for you. Ang ginagawa ng court, it's either of course, dahil nga ang gusto ng court, i-settle niyo yung issues. um, nag-ano, they require for mandatory mediation. So halimbawa, nag-try muna kayo mag-usap o hindi kayo magkasundo. Or let's say for example, meron kayong mga attorneys, and yung mga attorneys ninyo nag-uusap, nag-negotiate as to the custody of your children, sometimes mabilis lang, sometimes hindi, it takes time din. Depende sa willingness ng mga magulang as to, how they want the custody for their children. Ngayon, kapagka hindi pa rin magkasundo, tumatagal na yung case ninyo, siyempre gusto nyo, okay, you know what, we're done. I mean, I don't want to talk about it. Let's just let the court decide. Okay? So, akala nyo makapunta agad kayo sa hearing, hindi pa. You have to have mediation at least. So, kukuha kayo ng mediator, yan. And yung mediator, of course, it's an attorney, licensed here in the state of Texas, and of course, certified mediator. Yan. So, hindi lang basta-basta kung sinong mediator yan. Kasi may one time, yung isang client ko nga sabi niya, ang gusto niyang mediator ay, I think parang clergy, ganon, or ano nila, parang minister or priest, man ganon. And ang sabi ko nga sa kanya, oh no, the mediator is an attorney license, or an attorney who is certified as mediator. So kailangan certified sila as a mediator. Ngayon, magkakaroon ng mediation kung saan yung both parties are gonna, will talk about, try to settle their issues pa rin, with the help of the mediator. Ngayon, pagka nagkaroon sila ng kasunduan, then they'll sign an agreement there, and then they can incorporate that into their divorce decree and then submit it in court. So wala nang hearing kasi nagkasundo na sila sa mga issues eh. Pero pag hindi pa rin sila nagkasundo during the mediation, then saka na kayo pupunta ng court and magkakaroon kayo ng hearing, and you'll have to prove your case there. And then the court will decide kung kanino mapupunta ang custody. Will it be a sole management conservatorship, or will it be a joint conservatorship? So titignan ng court ang napakaraming factors nga. Tulad nga naman nabanggit ko earlier. Ngayon, kapag let's say the court will decide, the court will look into the SPO, which is the standard possession order. Meron kasi, the court here came up with the SPO, with the standard possession order, and taking into, when we say standard possession order, ito yung possession order na sinet up na ng court, and the court, because the court finds that this is this is fair and just, right, or reasonable custody ng mga bata, and right to possess, visitation, custody ng mga bata. Ngayon, during the agreement, let's say for example, hindi pa kayo nag-hearing, at during during your settlement negotiation, ay gusto nyong gamitin, oh, let's just go ahead and use the standard possession order that's created by, under the Texas law. We'll just do that. Pwede ba yun? Yes, of course. If you want to follow the standard possession order, yeah, you can do that. You can adopt that or incorporate that in your divorce decree. So it's not necessarily because the court, decided that it'll be a standard possession order, then, it will be. You can actually use a standard possession order during your negotiation. Sabihin nyo na lang, standard possession na lang tayo. Okay, so ngayon, ano nga ba 'tong standard possession order na 'to? Sinasabi lang naman dito na, your parents, I always say mag-asawa, but, not all the time na mag-asawa, 'di ba? So, if the parents of the child or the children, they live, miles apart from each other, mga 100 miles apart from each other. Ang sinasabi lang naman dito sa SPO, Standard Possession Order, um, yung parent with whom the child does not reside, which is meaning yung kung sino yung, let's say for example, we have the sole conservator and then possessory conservator, di ba? Yung possessory conservator, yung parent na may right to visit the child only. Um, meron na silang sinet na specific date and time for possession. So usually yan, ang sa standard possession order, just to give you an idea, kasi it might be so, kailangan talaga i-note mo yon kasi it's very specific ang date and time niyan. Like for example, on the yung parent na may visitation right, yung possessory conservator na parent will have the child on the first, third, and fifth weekends of the month. Yun yung right mo to possess your child. Kung ikaw ay possessory parent, yung you have only the right, a visitation right lang meron sa'yo. So you can have possession of your child on the on the first, third, and fifth weekends of the month. Now, bakit sabi mong fifth weekends? Kasi ibang buwan meron silang fifth weekend eh. So that's why. So first, third, and fifth. Now, sa mga teachers, when I was teaching, um, elementary school noon, mano-notice niyo yun eh, na, the children will tell you, oh, today is the first weekend, so I'm gonna be with my dad or with my mom. So, you as a teacher, dapat nga you're also aware, aware of that eh. Kasi sometimes it affects the mood and the attitude of the child, especially kung yung bata doesn't want to go to that parent, and then that's the time the parent will have possession of the child. So yung makikita mo yung bata, they're not happy, it affects their learning. And kaya talaga this division, this uh, separation talaga ang naapektuhan ng mga bata. Akala lang natin okay sila, but there's always an effect sa kanila. And nakita ko yun firsthand when I was teaching. Especially if the child is not happy to be, with that parent, and it's time for that parent to have that child. Kasi nga it's the first, third, or fifth weekend of the month, makikita mo rin yung attitude ng bata sa school, towards learning. It's either, it's either excited kasi, gustong-gusto niya dun sa parent, o kaya naman down na down kasi ayaw niya dun sa parent na yon. So, makikita mo talaga. And also yung first, third, and fifth weekends na yan ay magsisimula yan ng Friday, at either the time the school, they're dismissed from school, or 6 p.m. And then mag-end yun Sunday ng 6 p.m. So kailangan ibalik na yung bata doon sa primary parent, yung may yung may custodial right dun sa parent, I mean sa child, ng 6 p.m. Kung hindi, kung ma-miss mo yung time mo, kailangan tumawag ka, ipaalam mo na ma-miss mo. Otherwise, pwede kang makasuhan just because you miss hindi mo binalik yung bata on time. So you have to be very, very careful about this as well. Ngayon, ano lang ba yun, first, third, and fifth weekend, hindi rin. Meron din silang child visitation then every Thursday, beginning at either the time the school, dismisses the child, or 6 p.m. and ending naman at 8 p.m. So Thursday, although it's not weekend, pwede mo pa rin ang possession ng bata from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Balik mo rin agad. So kaya kailangan you're very aware of this schedule. Yan. So, at of course, yun, marami pa yon ng mga like for example, summer naman or holiday. Pag holiday visitation, naman tayo, pumapasok yung odd even years. One parent will have the Thanksgiving dito in pag even years, yung parent will have the Thanksgiving in even years, and the other parent will have the Christmas in even years. And then of course magso-switch sila. So palitan lang. So you just need to know kung ano sa'yo, odd ka ba or even ka. Yan. And yung holidays, of course, typically cover dito sa US, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then spring break then. But um Puwede naman kung sakali mang will have a divorce decree, agreed divorce decree, puwede pa rin kayong magkasundo na i-include niyo yung every holiday na alam ninyo like 4th of July, ano pa ba yun, yung mga holidays sa school, MLK, 'yan. So, nasa sa inyo 'yun kung magkakasundo kayo. Kung gagamitin niyo yung SPO at gusto niyong idagdag yung iba pang holiday, you can do that. Nagiging modified na nga lang yung SPO mo, 'yan. As long as you agreed, okey 'yun sa court, you know? Um, of course then tandaan din natin na dito sa, SPO, Standard Possession Order, yung isang parent, yung possessory conservator na parent, yung may right to visit lang na parent, will have the child for 1 month or 30 consecutive days summertime. Ito actually yung pinaka-ano, challenging, eh, kasi imaginin mo yung isang buwan na nandun sa kabilang parent yung yung visitation right nung parent na yon kanya yung buong ano, 30-day consecutive days during summer. Yon, of course. Pero siyempre that doesn't mean wala ka yung the other parent will no longer have access to the child. Of course, meron naman, puwede siyang the other parents can ano, have a visitation right naman, during weekend, during the 30-day summer period na 'yan. As long as ano, it's an option, of course. Um Okay, so at saka marami pang na ano puwedeng, like I said, it's very specific and, the specific dates naman, if you consult an attorney, they can provide you like a calendar para nando'n na yung mga ano, the mga days na where you can possess the child or nakalagay na do'n sa calendar yung visitation days mo. So, para hindi ka magkamali dahil 'pag nagkamali ka nga like I said, ma-miss mo yung time mo to i-return the child, then you can be sued or there could be an action in court against you, okay? Now, if the child is under 3 years old naman, um, ano 'yan, may tinatawag kasing step up, provision dito sa Texas ano, the older the child, the longer yung ano mo, yung possession mo. The younger the child, mas konti yung time mo to ano, with your child. So may special provision na 'yan. Like for example, yung sa bata, if the child is less than 3 years old, there's no overnight, until the child reaches the age of 3. So mayroong difference 'yan, of course. Okay, so now we can talk about the next one. What if the parents are not married? But before we continue the discussion, this one, let's just pause for a short break and we will continue discussion when we come back. So stick around and I'll see you after the break.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Rogers. I am the auditor of the Philippine American Chamber of Commerce, Greater Houston area. Please watch the Biz Talk every second and fourth Thursday of the month via Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy Facebook page and the YouTube channel. See you all!
And we're back. Nandito pa rin tayo sa Usapang Off the Record. And I'm here, Aileen, your host. And we are still live stream sa Facebook page ng Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy and YouTube channel. Okay, so let's go back here. What if the parents are not married? I think we have already discussed a little bit about this earlier. Kung ano, what if the parents are not married? Meron bang pwede ba tayo mag-file ng custody sa mga bata? Okay? So nabanggit ko na nga kanina na if you are not married, and you're the mom or you're the dad, you have rights over your children, okay? Pero if you wanna, let's say for example, you are not married, and you're not living together, pwedeng separate kayo, after siguro na panganak yung bata or at some point, yung age ng mga bata ay nagkahiwalay kayo. And this time sabi mo, "Oh, okay, ay nahirapan na akong bumisita sa anak ko. So I think I need to get a court order to establish my right to visit my child or to get custody of my child." So there's no divorce case pending, nothing like that. Yes, of course, you can file for that. You can actually initiate a SAPSR case, which is katulad ng nabanggit ni Rusty Lopez kanina, ang tawag yun ay suit affecting the parent-child relationship. Yan. So, in other words, when you file this case, you can ask the judge to make a custody determination or make a custody order or visitation or child support, including child support, and of course, other issues related to children like medical support yan sa mga bata. Now, but take note here, of course, the mother and the father, they have equal right over their child. Okay, to file for custody sa anak nila. Okay, however, kapag unmarried yung mag-asawa, um, may the father has no legal parental rights sa mga bata, lalo na kung wala siyang when the child was born and he was not his name is not on the birth certificate. Yan, and there is no acknowledgement of the child ng father. Syempre sasabihin ng mama, wala kang right. Kahit mag-file ka ng custody, you have no right over my child. So ngayon, ang gagawin ng dad, of course, you have to establish your right para magkaroon ka ng, may assert mo yung custody right mo doon sa anak mo, di ba? You have to establish your right. And that's when paternity case can be initiated, because, and of course, paternity is another big topic. We can talk about that sa susunod na episode natin, maybe. And, that's when the father can establish his parental right over the child, and then pag na-establish na yon, then he can already ask he can already ask the court, I can I have a custody over my child. And of course, syempre court yon, papasok naman tayo sa earlier discussion natin, how will the court determine custody. So yung mga factors na pinag-usapan natin kanina. Yun ang ano diyan, ang ano lang diyan about the if the parents are not married. That doesn't mean na wala ka ng karapatan sa anak mo. Establish mo muna yung right mo kung wala kang parental authority or parental right dun sa bata. Because nga, hindi kayo mag-asawa and your name is not on the birth certificate. So, you have to show proof that you are the dad. Okay? So, kailangan acknowledge mo yung bata, and that can be done also through a paternity action or suit in court. Ayan. Okay, so very informative tayo ngayon, ano? I think we have discussed a lot. A lot about custody battles, including at nabanggit na rin natin ang paternity rights. And abangan ninyo, baka yun na ang susunod nating issue. So kung let's say, for example, right, you have question related to establishing your paternity right, then abangan ninyo dito sa Usapang Off the Record, at isa sa mga episode natin ay tatalakayin o pag-uusapan natin ang paternity rights. Okay? All right, ngayon, gusto kong pasalamatan ang lahat ng mga nanood, nakasama natin dito sa live show dito sa Usapang Off the Record. Thank you so much, and I know that there's so many things that you can do, but you chose to stay with us and join us during the live show. At syempre pa yung mga nagtanong at saka nagpa-shout out, maraming salamat. And before tayo magpaalam, I just want to make an announcement. I just want to invite you all tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday. I know that sometimes Saturday, Sunday, yung weekend natin ay busy. Pero if you have time tomorrow, samahan kami. Let me share with you yung ating picture diyan, so that you know what I'm talking about. Yes, this is tomorrow. So the Philippine American Chamber of Commerce, in partnership with the Santo Niño Episcopal Church, meron kaming programa, ang Tai Chi program namin. This is gonna be 2 Saturdays. So this Saturday, that's tomorrow, and next Saturday, the 30th, meron tayong isang oras na Tai Chi, and it'll be at the Epiphany's Episcopal Church sa sa 9600 South Gesner Road, Houston, Texas. Stay fit for a cause. Isn't that nice? Magkakasama tayong magta-Tai Chi doon. This is gonna be my first time to do Tai Chi, and I'm so excited because I've heard so many good things about it in terms of staying healthy And at the same time, hindi, it'll be a slow pace, I guess. That's what they said. Slow pace, parang exercise siya pero slow pace siya. So, I think this is gonna be good for me. So, uh, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow sa Epiphany Episcopal Church. Malapit din yan sa Filipiniana, dyan sa Beach Nut. Okay? But the address is 9600 South Gessner Road. All right. At syempre pa, maraming salamat sa Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy, kay Fenji Villasin ng ating president. At syempre, dati kasama natin dito sa program. We miss you, Fenji, kaya magpalakas ka na. And also, thank you sa audience and listeners ng Usapang of the Record. Ang Usapang of the Record is brought to you by Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy and Legal Dism Law Firm PC. I'll see you all next week sa isa na namang Usapang of the Record. This is Aileen. Have a good weekend, everyone. Make it worth it. Bye-bye.